that is in front of them. But as we hone in on the series itself, big eyes on mid lane. Yu-Cal has been the centerpiece, the star, whatever you want to call as the big focus for TT. While RA, yes, Strive has found some advantages and looked really good, but it's usually the entirety of RA that need to succeed for him to find a
OMG is the most telling of the recent series, right? Where you're in a series today that it's similar scorelines to what it was against OMG. It's middle of the table teams going at it. Like RA, certainly a team that could be at a similar level to OMG
as a whole, and especially looking at FPX, right? It's difficult to have these kinds of conversations when you're sitting at the bottom of the standings, and there is a lot of really good teams in the LPL, but to find those wins, you have to see some construction going on in these teams, right? And when you're looking at each one of them, LGD as a whole.
Again, like on paper, JG might look like the slightly more impressive team pound for pound, but top esports have actually been the ones who they're sitting above them in the standings. Game score might be the exact same, but TS have lost one less series. They also played one less series, but what can?
In the ball lane 2v2, and he needs all those resources because I think FPX, when it comes to their top sides, they are definitely one of the more shaky ones.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that a little shaky, definitely not looking the most positive, but a massive opportunity here for OMG to
God is vocal, he's there calling the shots, and this is a team that have thrived off of coordination and like working together.
It's weird too, because they've thrived off coordination and working together in chaos. Like they're so
they're more comfortable having Angel in the mid lane, and it's not necessarily flavor Sang Yuan. It just feels like for RNG that's just the better puzzle piece for them to actually perform. And like you say, I think with the pocket picks as well, it does kind of make things like draft a little more flexible, especially as we approach kind of the end of the business end of the split, I suppose you can say. As
they are getting towards playoffs and they can still make it. So you even mentioned Sing being that potential person.
And again, as I was saying before, remember, it's not actually a 5-loss streak. It's only one here. Okay, all right. Burger.
Oh, so cute. No, that's not
in Spring Split against a team who can play through all 3 lanes.
At least so it's in their own arena. As Candice made the trip over to Suzhou to introduce our 2 teams. LNG, it's already been such a surprise. EDG to say the same, and that's what connects these 2 teams. Both LNG and EDG as Candice is playing, I guess, the invisible violin for today. Or maybe it is the
LPL 春季赛第8周第3日的第1场比赛将会由 OMG 对阵 LPL 5位劲巅峰。
Two people who we talked about before, Mako has had some like slower parts of splits where he's having rough performances, and I feel like JJ has been a bit the same, especially it feels like a curse after you win Worlds. It feels like right after Worlds you always have a bit of a kind of a slow climb back.
Cream and Abel are really the superstars of this lineup, and if they are able to control the early game alongside Aki, who has been a very big fan of the Sejuani, I mean, OMG looking very, very stable.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you bring up the Sejuani for Aki as well. It's been a first pick for OMG.
And then last year, of course, had that low of the winless WE split as well.
Yeah, for sure. But that's something else interesting is like where you grow from that kind of moment as a player as a whole. But it's
I think this match, which was happening in week 5, is going to be, and I believe Yu-Shuang asked what was your thoughts on YSKM, and then he said
As well. That was a very strange game. But like you say, PLG absolutely dismantling them there in game number 1, then coming back
in between like 40 seconds to like a minute, and we'd be there, and Hung's flash is already gone. Hung is already like gone for like a flash binding on Lux or something by the time that we're even on screen to Summoner's Rift. So yeah, he's someone that you can always expect a lot of.
Something that I have noticed for LGD is that they have a huge preference for Renekton and Nidalee, and they are playing not standard as a lot of these teams. I mean, you are just playing front to back, having that strong bottom side, where even Xiaoshu sometimes picking a champion like the Fiora did look pretty good. You're on a ticking time bomb and you have to make those early forces get there, or TT's team comp, I mean, I'm a little bit scared.
So I'll be really interested. Obviously, we are in 13.3.
People coming into the split, but they've just fallen short almost every hurdle it feels.
And what I love so much about this matchup is, yes, it's both middle of the table right next to each other in standings, but it's also a matchup where we feel like there's no clear exact standout in each one of the one-on-one matchups where
the split with Dream, right, and then swapping over to Pao, like you said, Zhao and Bao as well. To now have Shadow come in and, sure, the first series was a little bit turbulent, but taking down IG, who have, for the most part, had the mojo with them a lot of the time.
Not too sure who's going to come out mechanically first, but when it comes to these pre-game poses, YSKM is definitely #1 in our hearts with how creative and how awesome he is able to just introduce himself every single time, and I'm never disappointed. Hopefully this game and the series
is that it's only just begun, but once it started, it all of a sudden blink and you'll miss it, and it has stopped. That's the crazy thing about the LPL. This would be the 4th game, actually 5th game for WE, 4th series for BLG.
BLG very well could have won that series almost entirely through Bin. So, when it comes to those big stage moments for BLG when they're against the other top of the table teams, Bin seems to be the guy that BLG would like to, sort of keep their eyes on and continually give.
Ever since they've had this core 4, Shanjiaki, Cream, and Abel, really just keeping with the same strengths. Again, the melee champions in the mid lane, the flex potentials out from top side. These really heavy, brawly, scrappy compositions where champions like Samira can thrive.